Hello! And yes, I am doing an RTS series. I suppose this is an RTS. I suppose it can qualify as an RTS. Welcome to Europa Universalis. Let me just mark it to. Okay. Welcome to Europa Universalis 3, a massive single player and or multiplayer RTS spanning from 14th October 1399 all the way to 31st December 1820. The game in itself ends in January 1st, 1821, but that's pretty much it. Let me just, no spoilers, no spoilers. This is pretty much a free-form strategy game, as in you can do whatever the hell you want. You can start with Ming China and work your way up to Europe, as I have. I have conquered the entirety of Eurasia and Africa using Ming China once, which I have to admit was one of the best things I've ever done. Then again, that was in Nominate. This is Divine Wind, as you can see here. Divine Wind is a fourth expansion. It gathers everything good about the previous three, which were Napoleon's Ambition, In Nomine, and Heir to the Throne, and it pretty much just puts them all together in one fantastic game. I'm going to opt with a grand campaign, which means it starts from the very beginning, the very earliest. There's a lot of every single campaign you have here: Apollo Byzantium, New World, Waterloo of Cambrai, Cambrai or whatever. They have a lot of what do you call it? Recommended. Wait a second. Where's the goddamn music? Don't I have music? Yes, I have. Okay. They have a lot of recommended countries. For instance, you can start with they recommend Castile, England, France, Ottoman Empire, Austria, Portugal, which I'm going to choose, and Muscovy. I was initially going to choose Muscovy, but it's exceedingly difficult. I want to do this on a hard run, and honestly, up until now, I am not skilled enough to survive as Muscovy. So I need a little more experience under my belt before I do that. I have been playing this game for years now, and I've still been able to, I'm still not accustomed to the Casus Belli system. I'll get to that later. So I'm going to try and do a no interference run with Portugal, which means I get to choose Portugal, and as my main objective would be to colonize as much as I can and turn myself into an economic superpower. And thanks to the building system, I'll get more than enough manpower to still be a threat to Europe, even though I want to play this one as a true neutral. I want to play this game as a completely neutral country, and I want to do it correctly. I want to do it properly. It's just going to be difficult because Castile is really active in terms of what do they call it? Diplomacy. And by diplomacy, I mean war. Let's just hope that France doesn't snowball. It doesn't tend to. In the earliest, let me just back to the story. This is the options menu. You can personalize every campaign. You can put through everything in default. But I want to do this the right way. So I'm going to do leaders are generals, admirals, explorers, and conquistadors. I'm going to put this in historical because that way I can get a early start with exploring. Colonists, normal, everything normal. Inflation, I hate inflation, it's going to be normal. Size of colonists, oh god, I'm going to hate that, but I'm going to put that in normal. That means it's 100 colonists, which means it's going to, every colony needs 1,000 people to be fully integrated. Before it's considered a province, you need 1,000 people, so there's pretty much 10 colonists, so you can only have 5 at a time. I can put this in hard. AI aggressiveness, I'm going to put this on normal. Lucky nations historical. Okay. This is the only thing I'm going to do. This is going to try and do this realistically, alright? So, here goes. The good thing about this game is, you don't really have to stick with the regular history books. For instance, Portugal, as you can see, starts out with a rather good alliance with England. Problem is, I want to do a no interference, and what do you call it? God damn it! I want more music. Seriously, There's no music. What the fuck? Oh well. God damn it. I was talking about. Right. I have an alliance with England. Normally this would be a very good thing, but England is always, and I mean always, swinging sticks at France, and I want a no interference one, so I'm sorry. You can do whatever the hell you want. I mean, you can start with Ming China, which is somewhere around here, right? You can conquer Europe. I've done that. I have conquered Eurasia with Ming China, and it was the funnest thing I have ever done in this game. Granted, it was back in the second expansion of Innomine, but still. Right, a little thingy on the interface. You have several different tabs. The government tab tells you, of course, the government. You have the list of nations that are currently alive and that you know of, right? And your current relations. Mind you, there's shitloads more nations over there. I just don't know they're there. Little thingies here, important. Natural rivals, threatened by, whatever. This is the crown tab. You can see your king, and you can see your heir. Heirs are important. If you don't have an heir, you're going to be faced with a succession crisis, and bad shit happens. These are your advisors. You can have up to 3 advisors giving you various buffs. I have Nunal Spreida, which is historically, he existed. It existed. Historically, right? He was a great general. Freed us from a lot of things. I don't know what. I don't remember the history class as well. Anyway, this is the economy tab. There's a lot of technologies you can invest here, and it kind of got revamped a bit in Divine Wind, because instead of having like a really small amount of buildings, you have this enormous list that gets gradually unlocked. However, I'm going to do a colonist one, so since I have inflation on, I'm going to put this on minimum. That's right, I'm not going to mint anything. I can sacrifice land technology, production. I'll just leave the government at a very small. Having government technology is important because it allows you for ideas. I'll get to that. I'll put trade a little bit ahead. Right, okay. Then you have the military tab, which is pretty much what you expected. These sliders, right? These regulate just how much funding you're giving your troops. That, of course, influences how fast ships are repaired or how fast troops are replenished. For instance, if I had this on minimum, it's on naval, my ships would not repair and it would have really, really small morale. Here is your list of units. Mind you, naval units cannot be chosen. As you unlock more and more ships, it gets automatically updated. However, you can choose freely between different types of cavalry and infantry, and later on you have artillery. I think we put this on halberd and chevauché. This is the religious tab. You have 3 types of religion. You have the true religion, which in Portugal and most of Europe right now is Catholic. You have the heretic belief, which up until now is Orthodox, which is this part here. Mind you, by the time the Protestant Reformation starts, showing up, there's going to be 2 more heretical beliefs. And then you have the various heathens, Sunni, Shiite, Buddhist, Hindu, Confucian, Shinto, Animist, Shamanist, etc. Everyone who isn't European, everyone who isn't Christian is automatically rated a heathen. And these -2 are pretty much stability. They affect revolt risk. For instance, revolt risk, as you can see, tolerance -4. While, for instance, if I controlled, say, Tubkal, I would have a +2 because it's a heathen. Unless, of course, I converted it using a missionary. Okay, next one. This is the government tab, the true government tab. This is the court tab, I'm sorry. You have 2 things here. You have the domestic policy slider. For instance, this is a lot like, historically this is a bit correct, I think. You can adjust the way your country works. For instance, you have my personal favorite, serfdom versus free subjects. If you go towards this bonus isn't unlocked until you reach, it's just unlocked when you reach an extreme. You get progressively bigger bonuses until you actually reach the end. For instance, as you can see, with maximum serfdom, you pretty much be going with the ancient system where there's lords and then there's serfs. It costs less to stabilize a country, it costs less to build galleys, and it costs less to buy infantry. However, as you can see, it gets a bit difficult to actually progress with technology, because your country's separated in lords and serfs. However, go with free subjects, though galleys and infantry cost more and stability is harder to get, you have better morale in your armies and much faster technology. Technology research. I didn't realize that. Yeah, better national spy defense. Huh, I never realized that. Which kind of makes sense because you're telling your country that they're free. They can do whatever the hell they want as long as it's within the law. Then you have something a lot of trader niches do: mercantilism versus free trade. Mercantilism, as you can see, right? Mercantilism is very much national policy. I mean, it's assuming that you don't want to trade anywhere else but in your country, and you want to make damn sure, right, that you're there, that you're going to have control over everything you've done in your country. Free trade is exactly what it sounds like. It gets a lot better trade efficiency, more yearly merchants, less cost, but as you can see, merchant compete chance from overland provinces minus 30%. Since it's free trade, it's everything up for grabs. And then, of course, I have the military, which is offensive versus defensive, naval versus land, and quality versus quantity. I'm going to go with naval and Portugal. Duh. Okay. Next one is the leaders tab. You have the option of converting your ruler to a general. It does not work with anything else. You will be a general, and you will command land armies. That is it. You will do nothing else. However, these ones are blacked out because I chose to be historical, which means that leaders will just pop up in the list. This is Nuno Alves Pereira, which also doubles as an advisor. As you can see, he's a fantastic general. I mean, most generals get 6, 6, 6, 1. I think it's 6, 6, 6, 6. I think it's 3 6s because that's as far as you can go. It's 6 fire, 6 shock, 6 maneuver, and like 1 6 Cs or something. I don't know. Even with historical leaders, you can convert the rule to a general. Is the one exception. This one was introduced in the 3rd expansion of Divine Wind, the Culture tab. Previously, you really had to rely on chance to get one of these guys. You pretty much have to wait until you randomly came upon one, or you got an event where you actually got one. Now you have the Culture tab. First of all, you can get all these nifty little things, which increases your culture tradition, national world risk, endorsed culture, etc. It increases your cultural tradition here, as well, of course, as peace. War decreases your cultural tradition, peace increases it. Once you have enough cultural tradition, you can go ahead and actively recruit from the list of people. And the more cultural tradition, I believe, the better the advisor. For instance, on an early playthrough, and I had a large chunk of Brazil, I had a colonial governor. I hired one and ended up with one that gave me like plus 5% global tariffs. I got to that. This is my favorite one. This is the missions and decisions. Every once in a while, you get a mission in which you have to complete. Right now, it's our relationship with our neighbor Castile has always been important to us. We feel now is a time for fresh efforts to strengthen ties between ourselves and Castile. This is what you gain, as you can see over here. Gain 1 stability. Stability is exactly what it sounds like. It gives you a host of bonuses, as you can see here. It's increased either by the stability thing or by missions or events. Here is the condition. These are the conditions. I need to have better than 100 in a real marriage. And then you have this. This is the list of national decisions you can take. These will actively and permanently affect your nation until you reach the end of the game. Some, like the Claristitute in Restraint of Appeals, can actually be revoked if you meet a set number of circumstances. I don't like this one. For instance, and a lot of countries get their unique ones. For instance, Portugal, as I am aware of, gets 2 unique ones, which is Remember the Navigator, which gives me better trade efficiency and colonial range, and Establish a Fancy Ordnance, which gives me better production efficiency. God damn it, this is a lot of shit, man. Okay, back to the fucking economy tab. There's a lot of ways you can get money. Tax is given at the end of the year. You get X per month. You get X per month and X at the end of the year for net income. Then you have production, which is exactly what it means. This is pretty much production in each of your provinces. Trade income, which comes from your centers of trade. I'll get to that later. Gold income. Gold income is separated because gold isn't exactly that common in this game. There will be gold in Brazil anyway. Tariffs are gained from overseas provinces. Somewhere around here or something. If you go ahead and colonize below this line or whatever, like, I don't know, anything in America and the lower, anything that is not here, anything that is you cannot see right now is considered pretty much overseas. This doesn't count because you can see it, just haven't explored it. Then you have your monthly expenses, tributes, war subsidies, and your total balance. You can take loans, but I really don't like taking loans because I then have to pay them back. Next, disputed succession. A list of countries which have their next heir being disputed. I'm not going to get into the game. I don't care. I'm just going to get myself a royal marriage and be done with it. I want to do a non-interference one, but the last time I did this with Portugal, I ended up developing a personal union with France right from the get-go. Personal unions are when one country's leader dies, and since they have a royal marriage and no heir, the country with a royal marriage gains direct control. Since France lost their leader, I immediately gained control of them in every way. They were my bitch. They had to do everything I wanted, which was amazing. Let me catch my breath. There's just too much for you to sink in. There are tons and tons of fucking nations. As you can see, Germany, or the Holy Roman Empire, is comprised of dozens of small one-province minor nations. Let me see. The Holy Roman Emperor can call for a series of imperial reforms which gives them bonuses. Until this one, Renovatio Imperii, which pretty much unites the entire empire under one banner, under your control. If you're the emperor, of course. Then you have, yeah, that's it. That's the Roman Emperor. I'm not going to play the game because I'm not part of the empire. Then you have the papacy. This is a bit different. On previous versions, up until in Nominate, there were like 5 cardinals or something, and you had to directly influence them. You had to bribe them in order to gain control. Now you gain papal influence, which increases the chance the next cardinal will be yours. And the more cardinals you have, as you can see here, you just notice that Denmark currently is the current controller. They won't be for long. But the more cardinals you have, the more chances you have that you'll be the papal controller, which means you get specific bonuses, and you get 2 national decisions. You can invoke on 2 countries. You can call for crusades on heathens, and you can excommunicate countries that you don't like. I usually do that just to get revenge on France because I hate France. Everyone does that, don't worry, it's perfectly normal. I think I gotta cut the video here. It's getting a bit close. I'll continue the explanation on next video, and then we'll actually start. I hope we'll start. So yeah, I'll be right back. This is really just a small cut. Don't worry, I'll be done. So yeah, see you in a couple of seconds.